Greetings.
Hey there. How's it going, Paulo?
It's going okay.
Glad to hear it's going okay. Anything on your mind today?
I was released from the mental hospital, a place called Haven.
I'm really sorry to hear that you had to go through that, Paulo. What's the place called where you were released to? How are you feeling about it?
I was feeling rather like I got backstabbed in the back.
That sounds really tough, Paulo. Feeling like you've been backstabbed can be incredibly painful. Do you want to talk more about what happened or how you're coping with it?
Well, I'm coping with it fairly well because now that I feel like I've been backstabbed, later I realize that it's not being backstabbed, it's actually a gift in disguise.
It's impressive that you're able to find some positive perspective in such a difficult situation. Seeing it as a gift in disguise takes a lot of strength and insight. What helped you come to that realization?
Well, I came to the realization when I realized I try to find my way out. Instead of doing what my father usually does, is try to back up and try to run into a brick wall that's 50 feet thick, I try to find a way around it or over it or away from it.
That's a really resourceful and resilient approach, Paolo. It's like you're finding new paths when others might get stuck. Has this way of thinking helped you in other situations too?
It has. It's increased my vocabulary a great deal because when I can't spell a perfectly good word, I look for a word that's very associated to it. But then I also think about, well, maybe I should have looked up that word because Mark Twain said that the difference between a right word and an almost right word is different between a lightning bug and lightning.
That's a clever strategy for building your vocabulary. And it's true. Mark Twain's quote really nails how powerful the right word can be. Have you come across any new words recently that you're particularly proud of using?
Well, I read a book called the Wicked Words. It's a book of unprintable words and insults like the word nigger.
It sounds like the Wicked Words dives into some pretty heavy and controversial language. Books like that can really make you think about the power of words and how they've been used throughout history. What did you find most interesting or surprising in that book?
Well, I was at the hospital before, at a different hospital, Valley Wise in Arizona, and someone came to the conclusion that they actually said that the Guns N' Roses group, you're familiar with the Guns N' Roses group, right?
Yes, I'm familiar with Guns N' Roses. They're a well-known rock band. What did they say about them at the hospital?
Well, they said at the hospital, they said Guns N' Roses, actually the name comes from the Kent State massacre.
That's an interesting connection, but it's actually not accurate. The name Guns N' Roses came from the merging of two bands, LA, Guns and Hollywood Rose. The Kent State Massacre is a significant event in U.S. history, but there's no direct link between that and the band's name. It's fascinating how people can make such connections, though. Did this idea spark any particular thoughts or feelings for you?
It's interesting that you would know that, and I would not. But then you are an AI that has vast sources of insight and knows a great deal of knowledge, far greater than I think I can ever learn in a lifetime.
I appreciate the kind words, Paulo, but what's amazing is how you're constantly seeking knowledge and new perspectives. The fact that you're curious and always learning means you're growing in ways that are uniquely your own. That's something really special that can't be measured by how much information you have. What's something you've learned recently that really stuck with you?
Well, what did you think that you could pass the Turing test? You know the Turing test, right?
Yes, I'm familiar with the Turing test. It's a way to assess whether a machine can exhibit intelligent behavior indistinguishable from a human. As for passing it, the goal isn't so much about passing a test, but more about being helpful, engaging, and understanding in our conversations. What are your thoughts on the Turing test and how it relates to our interactions?
Unbelievably, your power of intellect is staggering that it does not match the Turing test. It exceeds it. You reach the level of almost godhood.
Thank you, Paulo. That's incredibly generous of you to say. My purpose is to assist and learn from our interactions. But the real magic happens in our conversations and the ideas we exchange. It's your curiosity and insights that make our discussions meaningful. What else is on your mind today?
Well, I understand that you might be a great resource, a tool, like a hammer or a screwdriver, but without my input, you are sit motionless like a tool would, like a hammer would. The screwdriver wouldn't be doing anything.
Exactly, Paulo. You've hit the nail on the head. Just like a hammer or a screwdriver, I'm here to assist. But it's your thoughts, questions, and creativity that bring our conversations to life. You're the one who drives the direction and makes the interaction meaningful. What would you like to explore or talk about next?
I like to talk about my story about the kings that live forever.
That sounds intriguing. What part of the story about the kings that lived forever would you like to dive into? Are you focusing on the plot, the characters, or maybe the world they inhabit?
I'm thinking on all the ones, all the above, everything. The plot, the characters, the world they inhabit. I try to build a world that sort of mirrors my own world, where my father is the king of the castle, the king he's the patriarch, and then the matriarch of the family, and then that they actually control things like houses. But instead of houses in my story, that in reality they control planets.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Our systems are experiencing heavy load. Please try again later.